Listen, I don't know about you, but I started a business so I could do this. Travel, be with friends, be with family, create memories. I didn't do it to sit at the computer all day. I didn't do it so that I could just be in countless emails and Zoom meetings. I did it to create opportunities for myself and opportunities for others. So listen, if that's something that interests you, enjoying time with your friends, being out and about, definitely drop by Erica Williams' Classy Climb blog. Check out the YouTube channel. We've got over 2,000 videos of free information that's actually changed people's lives. People actually post their new jobs, their new careers, their new businesses all the time over at the channel. You guys, drop your city and state in the chat. You know, I was just talking with Miss Reed. I put on the purple hat in solidarity because I knew she was going to put on purple. I already knew she was. It's her color. That's why I made the thumbnail purple. I already knew. Drop your city and state in the chat, folks. Listen, you know, it's a lot of noise out there. Tonight is going to be some more noise. You know, your boy's going to be talking State of the Union. At least he'll be coherent. He won't be lost on stage like our past president. But Miss Reed, talk to me. It's been a minute.
Yep.
I know you've been out there traveling, and you know people acting like the world's falling. Talk to us.
Yeah,
What's the latest updates? The latest and greatest.
I mean, we all know about the return to office 5 days a week. We've seen the layoffs, you know, and we also seen not just the layoffs in the private sector, also in the public sector. It's layoffs across the board. Now the question is, what do you do next? That's what people want to know. What do I do next? Where do I look? I'm always go back to follow the money.
Follow the money.
Follow where they're doing investment at. I was looking earlier today. I know DoD is asking for $1 trillion, almost $1 trillion for next year. I know they're trying to cut that in half down to 50 billion. But I don't see that happening, honestly. We're at this juncture now where I know Elon is saying critical infrastructure, critical jobs. Every job right now is critical in terms of, and I'm always stated it's always in terms of infrastructure. So when we're talking about infrastructure, we're talking about not just cloud, because everybody thinks infrastructure is just cloud, and it's not. There's a part of the infrastructure. It's your data centers, it's your networking, it is your cloud, it is your on-prem solutions. So you see how, I don't know if anybody caught wind of IBM this past 2 weeks. But IBM, when it's bought an AI company, I don't know if anybody even caught wind of that.
IBM right here in Austin, and my friend been working there for 20 plus years.
Yep. So IBM bought DataStax. They've been around for some time, but they focus on unstructured data. They also bought Red Hat for $34 billion, and they also bought HashiCorp as well too. I think they bought HashiCorp for $4 billion or $6 billion. IBM has been around forever. Ever. At one point, they had the most patents in the United States. So I think they're second or third with the number of patents that they have. But still, if you say you work for IBM, nobody's gonna be mad at you because you said you work for IBM. So why am I saying all of that? Because when you see these companies buying or acquire hiring, they already have a play for those companies that they're buying. And that means that they have jobs, and that means that they're looking to solve a problem. So again, the DataStax purchase of that company, HashiCorp, and on top of that, Red Hat, we're talking billions. At a minimum, we're talking that they spent $40 billion. And oh, by the way, the $34 billion that they paid for Red Hat, they already made that money back and then some.
Right. Well, the craziest part about IBM is I'm here in Austin, Texas, and people think, oh, IBM's half dead. I'm like, no, IBM owned all the land up here that the domain is built on. IBM owned over like 100 acres, and every bit of the acres is a soccer stadium, hotels. I mean, like IBM sitting on real estate money that they bought. This was where they're at in Austin was nowhere. And now you can't even build. You can't buy a house over there. You can't build anything over there. It's millions and millions of dollars. It's
Yep.
what's that golf thing? The tee off place over there. So
Top Golf.
yeah, IBM chilling. They
Mm-hmm.
got 5 buildings over there.
Yep.
They built a like 17 floor commercial building, and then a 20 floors apartment building in their parking lot. That's how much space IBM has over there.
And
Yeah.
and it's the same way for them in Colorado. They have 500 acres in Colorado, right
Mm-hmm.
there in Longmont. So when I'm talking about
Yeah.
watching the old school, you can call them old school
Mm-hmm.
players, but watch the old school players and watch how they play the game and still staying around. And then we still have, and I don't know if people pay attention to these things, like your places like your CVS Health
Mm-hmm.
is always hiring. Places like your Nordstroms
Mm-hmm.
is always hiring. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't know when this is gonna happen, but I'm still trying to figure out why Macy's is still around and they still hiring. And they're still hiring tech people. And they haven't.
I believe that they have bought so many other companies like Sears, but
Hmm.
we'll just never know that. They just
Okay.
bought a bunch of companies underneath, and we just don't know. Like Sears, it wasn't until like, oh, Sears is going under, and then Sears had to be like, well, we own like 200 repair companies. Like we're the store is going away, but we're not going away.
Hmm.
Mhm.
And so watch, and this is what I tell people: watch how the older companies, the tried and true companies, watch how they move. Not with the layoffs, but who they're buying and where they're putting their money at. And also watch the research and development. Watch the research and development. Yeah, Macy's been going out of business, Shar, for I don't know,
20 years. If you ask
6
anybody, they've been
years.
going out for 20 years. They'd be like,
They
you
still
know,
around, and I don't know what's keeping them going, but they're still around. Nordstrom's are still around, and these box stores have tech behind them. Is my point. It's that's what I'm showcasing,
hmm
and
well,
that's where we could get that. To me, that's where you can get your foot in and get a little job,
learn a little
and still,
something.
yeah, and still work on your craft until you land your dream job or whatever that looks like.
hmm So I was gonna say, like, if I name off these companies, some people don't even know who these are. So first I go IBM, Accenture, Deloitte,
Mm-hmm.
Infosys,
Mm-hmm.
Cognix, uh, WI Pro, Salesforce, Dell Technologies, PW, PwC, KPMG. I mean, some people don't even know those, and so
So
it's like
so
IBM gets a lot of junk, but it's like
let's talk
there's a ton
about
of companies.
Dell for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Dell has been on a rampage for the past. Dell and HP have been on a
Mm-hmm.
rampage for the past 3 months. And
Mm-hmm.
when I say on a rampage, they've been hiring people left and right. And the job that I interviewed for it, and this is the other thing. Stop. I'm not gonna say stop. I'm gonna say start looking for the jobs that have the interviews that are one and done.
Yeah.
The reason why I'm telling you that you spend a lot of time doing a lot of these interviews, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying a lot of jobs are one and done. You get on the phone,
Yep.
you talk to a hiring manager, they cut you an offer, you and then you negotiate from there.
Mm-hmm.
Dell was one of those things. Dell has been looking for people that understand OpenShift, understand AI, understand Red Hat, really understand my pillars,
Mm-hmm.
edge computing, on-prem or hybrid, and they've been offering jobs. uh, And this is what the guy said. He said, "I know you see the job out there for 275." He's like, but that's on the low end. Go ahead and ask for 300 to 350 because they got it and they can give it to you. That's what the recruiter said, right?
Yeah.
So when I hear that, right, when I hear stuff like that, and I know for a fact that I know people working at Dell, I know people working at HP, HPE. Let me be strategic there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I know those jobs out there. Now, who they're hiring for is 9 times out of 10 in support of some defense contractor position, because most of the defense contractors use Dell or HP when they're talking about building out their servers. That's where they get a lot of their money from. Not most, but a lot of their money. So again, if you want to come in through the back door, come in through the back door by working at a data center or working at a HP or Dell, understanding hardware, understanding storage. I don't care what nobody says. Storage ain't never going anywhere. How they sell it may change, but storage isn't going anywhere. We need storage for StreamYard. We need storage for everything. So that's not going anywhere. So be strategic about where you're looking at for the jobs and what area of tech you're looking at for those jobs. Places like your HostGator, your data centers, your rack spaces, they're just not going anywhere. They're always going to be
HostGator,
hiring.
man, I ain't heard that name in a minute, but I know they still out here.
HostGator, GoDaddy, it's still not. They're still here, and I don't know why we refuse to go look at jobs at those companies, because they have a variety of locations. Like, when I say a variety of locations, I should say they have a variety of jobs. So HostGator doesn't just do Linux; they do Linux, they do Windows, they do cloud, they do storage, they do security, they do email, they do websites, they do web servers. So
They got levels on it.
they got levels that you could just kind of move around in and just forever be in that company and do what you want to do.
I'm gonna tell y'all, my friend that's been at IBM for 20 years, she just kept going up, 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 up. And people were like, man, she was like trying to find other jobs, and they kept moving her up. And then they split that company into the IBM split into that little second company. Long story short, she's in the second company. I try not to name it. And so it's like she's making 200 plus, 200, and I think 210 or 215, maybe 220 by now. But that's without bonuses, right? That's just the base. And so I think people don't understand, like, these companies that are so big, you can keep moving up and moving around in the company. One of our friends here works for LCRA. He left, went to another company, got a bonus, came back, and now is a manager over there. And so it's like some of these really big ones are the ones that are do electricity for the city and all that stuff. Like, they're gonna be around. The electricity for the city ain't going away. The grid workers ain't going nowhere. All this software and all these computers that's been there for years, somebody still has to service it.
Yep, somebody still has to service it. Your gas companies, your Valero, your Exxons, your Chevrons, they all have tech. They all have servers. They all have some type of AI, some type of machine learning, some type of database, some type of control. So again, I'm not mad if somebody came to me and said, I worked at Texaco for 5 years or 15 years. I'm not mad at you because you said that. Like,
that makes sense.
That makes sense that you would have been there, because it's just an easy win. Same way, like, and I never hear anybody talk about Honeywell.
Oh, yes.
Honeywell.
About that. Yeah, Texas.
Yep. Honeywell has and we'll talk about the other one. But anyway, Honeywell, not only does Honeywell do like your thermostat, right? Honeywell also has a quantum computer as well too. So they're in a quantum game as well too. They're just a sleeper, right? There's just one of those sleepers. Another one that's a sleeper is you get mason jars, right? The ball mason jars.
Yeah.
Well, the ball mason jars is actually a tech company.
Wait a minute.
It's actually a tech company named Ball Industries. It's actually it's a tech company. But the reason why I mentioned that tech company is because behind the scenes, even though they may not get as big of contracts as Leidos or Leidos, they still are in that game of getting contracts and working on aircrafts and so forth. And so you go in the store and you pick up these mason jars and they got a ball on them, but you don't realize that ball is actually the same one that is actually working in tech. But didn't know that, right? So there you go.
No, really didn't.
Yep.
Because, I think people sometimes think of something very one dimensional, like
Mm-hmm.
Joanna Fabrics or, Ball is a mason jar company. So they must be doing like Pyrex, right? But that could have multiple layers.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And the other one that's a sleeper that just don't seem to go anywhere. It's like your bad auntie or that or that drunk uncle at the party that just
Mm-hmm.
don't like don't
No, to
give it.
wrap it up.
Yeah, don't get it. Don't give him that last drink because he ain't gonna go nowhere. Oracle is that bad uncle or that bad auntie
They,
that just keep navigating and moving, and you don't know how they did it, you don't know where they're at, and I'm mentioning these companies on purpose because
mm-hmm.
these are companies that I know are hiring. These are companies that I know that have been around for a while. These are companies that I know that you could get in. And where do you want to look at to get into those companies, right?
Right.
Again, the data centers, your Linux, your Oracles, your databases, your understanding AI, machine learning, supply chain, the whole nine. That's where those companies fall into play at.
And the big thing is a lot of people are, when I talk to people, well, Erica, nobody's hiring. And I go, there are companies that have been out here forever. They're still hiring. There are companies that are using tech companies, temporary agencies to even get people in there. They're hiring so hard.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So Tony B has this question, and we're gonna. I have like a article too I can show you, but how can you land a position with certifications and no experience with starting with help desk?
So it goes back to my same thing, like your host skaters, your name cheap.
I love some name cheap.
Your name cheap is essentially a tech company,
Yeah.
right? Your I don't know if people even realize it, but your places like DigiCert, places that hand out SSL certificates,
Mm-hmm.
that's another spot. Any of the places that have some type of they have multiple services like your
Mm-hmm.
rack spaces. They have multiple services, your HostGators, your GoDaddies. They have multiple services that they're actually lending out or serving up. Those places are a prime real estate for help desk.
Mm-hmm.
And you could literally, I started at the help desk doing backups at Rackspace, and literally my job was get the email. They already have a template, change the person name at the top, set up their backup, cut and paste their backup schedule, send the email. And that job at the time was paying 56,000. That's literally all I did. It's
Copy and
literally
paste.
all I did. It was set up backups. Like, oh, they backup failed. Let me go check and see why it failed. Oh, it
Mm-hmm.
failed because they changed their name or the directory isn't there. That's it.
Right, 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 right.
You said without
She said
certification.
without starting with help desk.
Oh yeah, yeah. I didn't have certification when I started, but I mean, most of the help desk stuff that I normally see that they hire for is can you answer the phone? Do you
Yeah.
have good etiquette? And build your way up from there. I I'm gonna tell you go look at Red Hat all the time
Mm-hmm.
because Red Hat is always hiring. You can start basics there. I'm also gonna say, again, going back to your rack spaces, and then the other thing, I don't know if you all look at this, but you guys got colleges in your cities.
Mm-hmm.
They got help desk jobs in at those colleges.
Right, but I think she doesn't. I think she's saying without doing help desk or without starting with help desk.
Uh,
And so I just tell people if you want to go higher up, you're going to need,
to read.
yeah,
Read and study and
yeah, and
understand
keep going.
how. Yeah, again, if you're not going to start at the help desk, or if you're not going to have any type of credentials behind you, and I say credentials meaning you might have taken a class but you might
Yeah.
not have taken the certification,
Mm-hmm.
right? A lot of people take the class, they can talk the language and not get the certification. The certification is cool, but they don't tell me that you in a real world experience or a real world scenario that you know how to do what I need for you to do just because you got that certification.
Right.
So again, understanding the material, understanding when and how to apply that material is going to show up in your interview. And listen, let me tell you, some people will hire you and know that you don't have the experience and want to see if you can perform.
Well,
And
okay, sorry.
and if they see you and if they can see that you can perform, they'll push you forward. If they see that you can't perform, they get rid of you. That it's really that simple. They'll take a chance on you. It depends on the company though.
Well, I was saying she can kind of go two directions with this. She can either go software, right?
Mhm.
Software develop, like she's gonna have to go up in skills, or she's gonna have to go over to sales.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
sales is, sales development, SDR, whatever, right?
Mhm.
It
Mhm.
depends on which way she wants to go with that. Because when I hear I don't want to do help desk, I'm like, okay, do you want business development representative, or do you want to go past that? Do you want to manage accounts?
Well, then there's other
Right.
things, right? So
Mm-hmm.
here's the other part of tech. I always go to tell people to look at the scaled agile framework. And again, if you go to scaleagileframework.com and you go look at what it means to be agile, if you go look at the large solution or even the portfolio, when you start looking at that, you'll start seeing that there's different jobs. So then there's product manager, there is a product owner, there's a scrum master, there's a architect, there's a different job. So you may not work at the help desk, but you may be good at gathering people, providing feedback to the customer, and then providing a solution. It really depends on how you look at yourself. So if you
And it's
click on
very vast. Can you see that right?
yes, go to portfolio.
Mm-hmm.
Now on the left hand side, you see at the top you see enterprise and government, and then if you keep going down, you'll see like epic owners, enterprise architect, product manager, system architect, RT. All those are positions, and all those are jobs. And most of the time, in most of your companies that you work with or work for, these jobs are actually positions that people hire for. And
Mm-hmm.
if you click on the far right, you see where they got shared services. And if you look at shared services and click on that, I'm going to show you a list of titles that they have, but then they're also jobs. So if you click on
Mm-hmm.
shared services on the far right,
Oh, is it not showing on screen? Oh, my
yeah,
bad.
it's on the screen. But
Oh,
but it wasn't on the screen for us.
okay, hold on. Boom. There we go.
Right.
This is shared
So
services.
yep. So if you scroll down, keep going right
Mm-hmm.
there. That little section right there.
Yeah.
All of that, what you see right there, are positions and titles. So there's literally somebody out there is building applications and web portal management, site reliability engineering, a position. Configuration management is a position. Data modeling, that is a position. These are
Mm-hmm.
all titles and all positions that fall really under agile, but really they fall under every company. I don't know a company that doesn't have some type of infrastructure management and
Mm-hmm.
some type of tools. I don't know anybody that don't have regulatory and compliance. These are, so if you're talking about what other positions in tech exist, these are the different positions in tech that exist across the board, across startups, across your big to do companies like your old ones, like the IBMs and the Boeings.
Mm-hmm.
These exist in every single company. So take this right here. Take a what is configuration management? What do
Mm-hmm.
they do? Take that, throw that into Chat GPT. Say what does someone with a title of configuration management do? Then take that same thing, run that, and say, hey, what companies would be hiring currently for jobs under configuration management? and then list your qualifications. Say, I want entry of 5 years or 7 years. Use the tools that are out there to help you get where you need to go, right? But these are positions that are out there across the board, whether it's public or private sector.
Right. And one of the biggest things I want y'all to understand is like there are endless career options. Just like when you talk about the military and Air Force, like there's endless options. Just because you always hear somebody say chef, cook, SDR role, sales, or what, you know what I'm saying? The common stuff. Remember, like it just takes an inch of looking to get this, right? So thoughts of a wildfire. As a person who went the sales route and does what does well, I'd prefer the help desk route because you really didn't learn technical side things in sales. Exactly. Yeah. You're like promoting the software just over and over and over
again. And I'm just gonna say it from my perspective, and I may be shooting myself in the foot. Whatever. What I've seen is most people who are not technical really don't stay in the industry long because they're not because I don't need for you to manage me. I need for you I need for you to do the work. So that's normally what I've seen. So I am not a big fan of people being ISSOs or security managers. I'm more of them being security engineers. Because the hands-on
lateral moves,
the hands-on it will always be needed versus you managing me. I can get a group of engineers and we can manage ourselves.
Right. Old shareholders though be like, we're the manager. You know what I'm saying? Like even though things can be updated, it's like old timey. Like where's the tech is definitely best hands-on, not theoretical knowledge. If she wants to deal with technical aspects and skill building. Also, if she's a people person, it's best she can do sales. Yes. I try to get a role as an email developer, but it's been difficult. I have a website portfolio to show up my skill. Indeed is trash. I need to update my LinkedIn portfolio. I would highly recommend updating your LinkedIn because recruiters, as a person who's learned the recruiting trade, we always have the rumblings of when we can go start hunting again. Right. And when I mean hunting is companies are in nature lazy. Like why would we hire a full-time person to run around hunting for the best talent or poaching you from another company when I can just let a recruiter send me an invoice and I pay and keep it pushing? So that's something to keep in mind. Always tinker with the LinkedIn update at these conferences. Who's the companies that came out to the conference? Again, the most important thing, if you didn't hear the beginning where Tam was naming off all those companies, please go look at the old companies that are still out here. They have plenty of roles. People are not as excited because, you know, when I went to go work for this one particular company in Austin, they're like, why do you want to work there? I'm like, it's in the news all the time. It's juicy. You know, I have a bunch of the staff, a bunch of the stock. I want to work there. Right. So that's any of these jobs you can do part-time, 20 to 25 hours. The ones on the screen right now?
I don't know if they're saying the ones on the screens, but just in general. I mean, it depends. Like it depends on what those companies look for. And also, just because you say part-time, I would be looking at that as a consultant, actually. So I would be looking at some place like TopTal, or I'm not even talking about Upwork, like TopTal. They'll vet you. They'll look and see if you got the skills, and then they'll place you with a client. Of course, they'll get a percentage of it, but now you got to include that percentage that they're gonna get as part of your hourly rate. Like, what does that look like? You know, like I'm just gonna be honest. Anybody with like 7 years or more in the game should not be looking at jobs paying them $30 an hour. I'm just being honest.
Y'all.
I'm just being honest.
I'm gonna tell you, me and Tam had a little talk before this, and the guy in a temporary job contract, 90-day contract, was offering $37 to start. So in my mind, when people say, "Oh, I can't find a job paying more than 20," I'm like, I don't know what y'all doing, because literally, our offer was $37 for an entry level role at one of the biggest name companies here in the Central Texas area. And I was telling Tam, I was like, $37? What y'all need me to do? Get on the phone? I get on the phone now.
Well,
it's interesting. It's interesting because my other friend that did temp work, he was saying they started him at 50 something, but he's not a software engineer. What is his title? Don't let me get down the rabbit hole because I'll get lost. Let me say, y'all, the sauna be wearing me out. Somebody said I'm looking younger and younger in these videos. It's the sauna, the moisturize your face. You got to get the water in and get the water out. Appreciate you giving your guests, helping people skill up. Listen, Cameron Carr, the best thing you can do over the next 4 years. I know Donald Trump is going to do the State of the Union speech tonight, and people are going to be juicy all on it tomorrow. But I'm really trying to get y'all to hammer in and focus, because I know how the summer is. Tam already knows she's going to be on the beach. She's going to be on a boat. I'm going to call her, be like, come on, get out, right? Like, she's going to be already on the summer. But the opportunity is this little 90-day window right now where you can kind of shift gears and get into a different company or get into a different mode. You just got to understand that.
Yeah, and I just wish we would pay more attention to like these. I would say it this way. These industries where we're not prevalent in.
But I think we're scared.
Yeah, like, and I'm not talking about tech. I'm talking about within tech, like
multiple layers in tech.
Yes, like digital signal processing, sound waves, working with data from NOAA, from the Weather Center, working with climate data, working like those industries. And don't get me twisted, like I know that takes skill and so forth, but when I walk in the room and I gotta look at a wall of 50 different engineers and don't nobody got a hue to them, and I gotta sit up to tell them what we about to do and what's next. It's not the fact it's intimidating, because I really just don't care, but it's the fact that I'm like, okay, I know that person over there don't know nothing. I know for a fact.
Listen,
I
baby.
know for a fact that
I know they don't.
I know they don't know nothing.
They in here helping each other with the study guide. Come on, man, knock it off.
Yeah. And so I was just saying, like, just get out of the mainstream. Get out of the mainstream tech careers and go focus on these niche careers where you're talking about signals. What's the big company? It's not Palantir, even though that's a good one. Everybody's like, oh,
Palantir.
Yeah,
listen, if I could go back in time in a time machine, go work at NVIDIA.
yeah.
I'll be the help desk. I don't care.
Yeah, Anduril is the company I'm talking about. ANDURIL. So
wait.
AND.
I hate for you to lose your track of thought, but they really want you to finish that sentence. How are they getting in the room? Tell them that part as you finish this. That part.
Easy. They're getting in the room from just networking with people. They're getting in the room from listen. Me and D always call it, some people are beautiful liars. But I say that to say sometimes people can talk the talk, but they can't walk the walk, and so some people like to listen to the people to talk. When it's time to implement. Let me tell you one thing I've learned over the years: people who can talk the talk find other people to implement their solutions. I don't need for you to implement it. I need for you to understand my need and what I'm trying to do. I don't care who you go find. I just need to know that you can go find them and have a solution for me.
Do you remember there's a book in tech? It's a training, and it talks about who's a captain, a navigator. What's the other two? One does the work, one's the captain. People nominate the captain. Even though he shouldn't be the captain, they nominate him because he has a look and a sound. If I can think of this book, y'all, I'm so sorry. I really apologize. But because we did a whole training on this, but it was like, this person's a captain, right? And we pick captains in companies all the time that are not the best, not the brightest. People are just comfortable hearing it from Gary. They're not comfortable hearing it from Tameka. So we're going to put Gary over here, and Gary going to tell y'all this is kind of what we need to do. Tameka might be the navigator and say, nah, we need you and you to do this. And then there's two other people in the back who are like, okay, I'm going to do this work.
Yep.
And now all of a sudden this fab is, working.
Yep.
And it's that kind of thing.
And you'll see that theme a lot in companies where I can hire someone and they not know anything, but they're good at gathering people together.
Mm-hmm.
And they're good at finding a way to come up with a solution.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't know how to implement jack. But they know that you know how to implement what you need to do. And so
Mm-hmm.
what they'll do is then turn around and say, okay, well, let me get this person to implement. Let me get them what they need. Let me get them what they need and remove roadblocks for that person in order to implement. And that's what they do. Simple
Right.
as that. And what I was saying about
Mm-hmm.
Andrew,
Right.
so Andrew, I think they won. I think they just won it was just in 2021. They won no, it might have been now. It might have been now. Let me double verify. They just won a $450 million contract.
Right.
Yep. So again, yeah.
Well, I just want people to understand that, like, sometimes they're just like, they think they have to be super overqualified to get these jobs. And I just really want to tell y'all, you know how hard it is to get people to show up for work. Sometimes people are just showing up for work and they'll put them in the role.
Some
Like,
people
do
just
you
show up
show
to look
up?
at TV. They
Do you
they're
show up?
on their phone. They on their
Yeah.
phone. They look at TV. They're gonna close 1 or 2 tickets. They're gonna go to lunch at 11. They're gonna come back at 1. They're gonna leave at 3, and they're gonna do it all over again.
This one guy said he worked at Dell, and they were like, "Stop sending me people that won't get on the program." And he was like, "Well, what's the program?" He's like, "Whatever this group is doing. Don't come over here trying to do something new." So some of y'all don't understand, like, you coming over there mixing up how they like to roll. They don't like that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
Switching
why
it
when
up.
people ask how people get in these roles, I'm like, it's not what you think. It's not what you
There's
think.
some of the roles are again
Mm-hmm.
just relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the roles are relationships. Some of the roles are, hey, and then don't get it twisted. Some of the roles are, we're not going to interview you. I trust that person. We're just gonna put you in the position. This is just, consider this a meet and greet. You already got the job.
Mm-hmm.
We're not gonna even do the interview. It's just like, hey, this is what we need for you to do. We looked at your resume. Your friend talked real good about you.
Yep.
And then
he's a consistent worker.
Yep. That's it.
Project managers. In the project management training, it talks about navigator or captain. Navigator, project managers. Like, I can't remember the book, y'all. I apologize, but it's like captain project managers, which are you. It's a whole framework that people are following, and that's somebody said the Phoenix Project, which is similar but not exactly the same. But that's why I just want you to understand, like, when people are like, how do people get in these rooms, and I'm like, it's not what you know, it's who you know. But
yeah, and in some cases it is your knowledge. But I'll say it this way: those people that invite you into that room have really been looking at you for a while, or they researched you. And so when you get in the room, it's either you're gonna shine or you're not. You're gonna sink or swim. And if you know, like I know, I don't know, I go in the room to destroy everybody, but that's just my mentality.
So you're aggressive. You're an aggressive brown woman. No, I'm
I'm an angry black woman. But no, my goal, when I say my goal is to destroy, my goal is to make sure I understand what they're asking for and take it to the next level and give people food for thought to think about stuff. That's just me. A lot of people don't like that. A lot of people are like, that's not healthy, or this, that, and other. I just know what works for me.
Right.
And
people can tell if you're driven. People can tell if you're driven. They can tell if you're lazy. They've been in some of these careers long enough to see. Oli said, is engineering /software still a better option than privacy/security when it comes to cybersecurity degree? He has an A+ completed. He has a network plus and security plus is next. Currently in health care middle management.
So, is engineering still a better option? Depends on the engineering you're talking about. I'm assuming you're thinking about computer science or maybe computer engineering. I would personally say I'm a sucker for computer engineers. I think it gives you a worldview of tech from the ground up. I'm also, when we talk about privacy, security, with a cybersecurity degree, sure. But let's go really a little deeper than that. What tools? What tools are people using in cybersecurity? Right. And so when I say that, that may be locking you into a vendor, but that's okay. So it's nothing wrong with you being Splunk certified versus you having a cybersecurity degree. It's nothing wrong. And I don't know if you all have looked at it. NVIDIA has classes out there that you could take. Like some of them are free, some are 1,500, some are 3,500. So you can understand how to set up their products, their software, how to scan LLMs, especially if you're talking about you're doing security or whatnot. But it's vendors focused, but it's nothing wrong with focusing in on a vendor
Like
versus getting
Salesforce.
versus getting a cybersecurity degree. So you can focus in on somebody like Tenable, that does scans. You can go and look at, there's self-paced training right there. You can go and look at Tenable. You can look at Twistlock, Aqua Security, Gremlin. Again, it's nothing wrong with focusing in on an actual vendor and understanding it's no different than you focusing in on AWS versus Azure or Google Cloud. It's no different than that.
AWS, like the lady who's in here? Is Brandy in here? Brandy? Okay, Brandy. The lady I met on the plane from the girl throwing up. AWS, they send her all over the country. She's training people. Brandy met her, I think, at the Afrotech in Houston. If Brandy's in here, Brandy, let me know. But yeah, like that lady was like, "Hey, you look for a job? What you looking to do? I can get you, girl. I'm going to Mexico City next week. I'm going over here. AWS is sending me over there." And yeah, there you go. She met her. So beautiful girl, super smart. Just it's a lot of opportunity out there. So I've been boxed into Microsoft, which I prefer. Okay, that'll work.
Nothing wrong with that.
That'll work.
I mean, Microsoft still gets money from the government and public and private sector. I mean, it's still the same thing. Like, okay. But again, when we're talking about where's the money at, go read all the money that they're putting out for every different agency, because those agencies feed and funnel into the local community at some point. And then also, I have this. I'm gonna send this one to you. Let me give you this.
Put in a private chat or whatever.
Yeah. Let me send you.
So this is NVIDIA, the classes she's talking about. If you have the ebook, the second one, you already know. But NVIDIA does have this deep learning, accelerated fundamentals of computer with CUDA and Python. I guess that's how you say CUDA, y'all.
It is.
Yeah, okay. I said y'all don't come for me. Fundamentals of accelerated computing, and even easier introduction to CUDA. Scaling workloads across multiple GPUs in CUDA, C++. All this is self-paced. It's not absolutely free, but some of them are $30. Some of it's free. And then again, so why would you want to learn this? Okay, they got data science. They got deep. Some of this stuff is free. Digital fingerprint with Morpheus, accelerated data science, deep learning. All these things I want y'all to really understand. And I don't know if Tameka can really explain it to y'all. Like the average person is not out here trying to learn stuff.
No,
they just aren't.
The average I mean, what is the reading level in the United States? Like,
it's low, baby. It's low.
Let's be real. And then not only the reading level, giving somebody something to read. You know how many people I talk to that say if I send them an email, they won't read it, or they haven't read it, or they didn't go through it, or what have you. You know how
they were so busy. They were
they
just so busy.
it don't even be the fact they were so busy. They just won't read it. They would rather for you to summarize it for them in person or something like that. The power that we have is the ability to read. The next power is the ability to read and comprehend, and the next one is the ability to read, comprehend, and apply knowledge. If you can do those three things, you could work in tech. But a lot of people hate to read.
Listen, I sent a text message to my family group chat. It's 32 people in the group chat. It's a link. All they got to do is click the link to Facebook. And I had a cousin literally go, as soon as I posted, can you just tell me what it says? I'm at work. I can't click on Facebook.
Yep.
Like, no, click the link, you lazy slug. And so I just go, just y'all don't. I'm just telling you. And Diamond Dave and us be talking about reading. I know y'all get so offended or tired of hearing that, but it's the most truest statement. Like, I'm Tameka, 6 months ago, or maybe like 7 months and a half on the dot, I was on phone calls with Dr. Chaz. Is one of Diamond Dave's students, and she's really good at like daily stocks. And I'm talking to her, and I said, listen, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna just hold on to my CrowdStrike stocks because I don't got to let go. I'm gonna hold on to CrowdStrike, and I'm gonna pick up some more MicroStrategy, and I'm gonna just hold them until I'm ready to day trade or swing trade more. And guess what? It's been the best 6 months of my life. You know what I'm saying? Like, but if you can read, you knew what was coming, right? It's really, I don't know how to explain it to y'all. If you can read, you can go in any of these rooms. If you can read, you can some of these jobs, y'all, you just reading back to them some stuff. But anyway,
yep. Reading and the last part, like this is the biggest one because it goes across the board. It's investing. And I'm not talking about like just stocks, but an investment into yourself and an investment to your growth of you, right? You have to have some type of continuous investment. It can't be I invested in myself in the 99 and the 2000s and I ain't did nothing since.
Going down. That's 25 years ago.
You got to keep investing in yourself. And so a lot of people don't do that. So in tech, it's a continuous learning. It's a continuous upgrade. And it's and as you upgrade, of course, it opens up doors. You meet new people, you switch lanes, you do all these things. But if you stay that course, there's no way in the world you won't be successful. It's just it's just not possible.
Yeah. Well, and even then it's like, I had an English professor that was not English professor. I had a professor in a particular class. She was from India, and people kept saying, "Oh, I can't hear you. I can't understand." And she's like, "Well, if you read the book, it doesn't matter what I say." And honestly, when people complain, they did. They said, "Well, did you guys read the book?"
No,
if you guys read the book,
go down to on that chart right there. Keep going down to the second one and blow that up.
Okay.
You can just click on it, it'll expand for you.
No, I like making the screen 1,000 times ridiculous. So
that's fine. That's fine. So this is from Levels FYI today, right? And this is across 3 different countries, right? They say everyone else is in tier 1. Now, look at tier 1 goes from probably about, they look like there may be about 80K all the way up to like about 550K, right? That is everyone else where they falling at. But big tech goes all the way from past 100, about look like it might be about 130, all the way up to 700,000 for total comp. And then it gives you your top scale ups and hedge funds. Now, the reason why I wanted to show this is because hedge funds is another place where people sleep on for tech jobs.
Yeah.
Hedge funds is another place where we're talking creme de la creme, right? Where the money over there is flowing. Now, there's a caveat to that. Whenever they get ready to sell or get ready to get rid of you, they just gone. But you've been over there with this hedge fund making $700 to $1 million.
or family offices,
right?
Where they don't want to get rid of you because you know all the family's business.
Correct. Right. Well, you've been over there for 4 or 5 years, making 700 to a million. You just stacking whatever you stack, right? So again, I want to showcase how when people are arguing online about 100,000, they're just saying they're literally saying everyone else is between this approximately about 80K to 500K, and then the top, the tier 2 and tier 3 are up here for total comp. Now, I'm not saying total comp doesn't include RSUs. They don't. That's not how Netflix works. Netflix works strictly on the base, and they give you money on the base. But again, I'm just showcasing like how we're looking at what we're talking about, where jobs are at that are paying, and the skill set and the ability to read and apply can take you to the next level if we start looking at those companies and positions and not go after the common stuff. And it's nothing wrong with going after the common stuff, but just know that you're competing with you and
Everybody.
maybe 15 million other people. When we start getting into the 4, the 5, 6, 700,000, those are so there's not a lot of us out there. Let me say it that way, that are competing for that. And when I say a lot of us, I mean a lot of people, not a lot of black people.
Well, I wanted to show Leo Moon. She said, I started with desktop, pivoted over to information and security. After a year, I was promoted. She said my desktop role was making $30 an hour. My biggest thing for all of these people is I want you to be able to see what is possible and then keep moving up. Because people are like, oh, Eric, I don't want to start with help desk. And I'll be like, 6 months and you can go do something else. You're just showing a track record. Yeah, you're just showing a track record of being in tech. Like, we're not trying to stay there. We're trying to grow. And if somebody comes back and asks you why you're aggressively growing your career, because you want to grow, you want to learn. Like that was part of one of my interview questions one time. Was like, well, why are you doing this? I want to learn. But you had this company. You've been doing all this other stuff. Yeah, but don't mean I don't want to learn. Don't mean I don't want new opportunities. And so a lot of times, I feel like one of the interviews I went on was a feel-good interview. Like, hey, you're hilarious. I want to be like, no, don't start expecting that. Somebody asked me when I'm moving to Austin. I live in Austin. Get out of here with the weird stuff, or I'll put you in timeout. Stop with the weird stuff, y'all. Timeout. Would be getting a CompTIA cert be a good starting point?
For what?
That's they just said it's a good starting point. Reading comprehension's at all-time lows.
I'm gonna tell you, go get you a skill set in Linux, get your RCSA and keep it pushing. That's just me. I know other folks will tell you A+, security plus, this, that, and other. Sure. I just know most of the companies that I ever worked for needed somebody that knew Linux. And I don't know a company that don't need somebody that know Linux and on some capacity. So
I think some people too are building up confidence getting into the industry. And that's where they feel comfortable with the able. Like whenever I hear somebody, I'm being nice. Whenever I hear a truck driver or somebody, well, I took a bunch of certifications and I didn't get anywhere. And I go, well, what did you take? Like what was the next step? So sometimes I think people want easy layups. In both the ebooks that I put out, there are ways to reshape how you. If you just come to an interview and you worked at TJ Maxx and Popeye's Chicken and now you want to do tech, I'm just trying to help y'all. Like let's buff it out. Let's expand this resume to show that you have done other things or you're studying other things, right? And you're ready to pivot. That's why I always say help desk. And I know it offends people sometimes, but I'm like, if you have no track record over here, why are you over here? Right? That's just me as a recruiter. That's just me when I looked at the recruiting parts. When I also looked at companies, like why would I call you? Like, yes, some people are trainable, but at the end of the day, people usually pick people that are already in the flow or already have some kind of knowledge. Not only average people, but people who are comfortable with their knowledge and don't want to raise their skill level. Interesting. Oh, listen, per my last email, if you check the last email.
Mm-hmm.
and reply.
Check the thread.
Man, do you know how many times, Ms. Reed, do you know how many times I have to tell people, like, I'm following up from 2 days ago. Oh, I was so busy, I missed it. Oh, what's the email say? Check the email from 2 days ago. I'm following up from 2 days ago. So that means you already have the email. Why would I repeat?
You have the data.
You have it.
You have the data.
I will send that email again. Did you read the first email? Like,
nope.
Stop it.
Nope.
Can't. Data science, deep learning, machine learning, advanced statistics, people finding it difficult to comprehend. It takes time. Former educator, the reading levels in the US is low. Many people today make fun of people who read. Listen, I watched this video and it was so good. It was so Miss Reed. It was so good. Guess what it was talking about? It was like deep thinkers, when they test in scenarios, deep thinkers trigger the part of a person's mind of fear or flight. So if you start talking about a deep concept and the other person talking to you is like feeling like they can't keep up, it triggers the fight or flight mode. Now, as a kid that was bullied, and you answer the question, and someone throws a piece of paper at you in class, you're like, what did I do wrong? The people are already upset because flight or fight mode is kicking in. Like, they're studying this stuff now. So it's not just that deep thinkers are, people are being mean to me because I'm a nerd. No, it actually triggers something inside people, literally as a nervous response. Like, well,
insecurity.
I never thought about this. I never even thought about that.
It triggers insecurity. That's another big part of tech as well too. Anybody that comes to our meetups or been to my YouTube channel, I like to have trained assassins. And so if you don't move like a trained assassin in this industry, you can be on the side of the road, right? With the broken with the broken sword. But yeah, so for me it's understanding a lot of things, conversations, learning how people talk, what they talk about, what their conversations about, nervous twitches, habits, how they write their emails,
Right.
how people, who do they go to, and so forth. All of those things you have to add into your list when you start talking about how to navigate just jobs and then tech in general, right? One of the biggest things that I have learned is waiting to see who bites first on emails, because those that bite first are always looking for they're looking to solve the problem, but always be first to respond, but it may not be the right response. Right. So then you got to always question that person, right? You got to always question why they were responding so quickly. And that's not even, they didn't even answer the question. They didn't even solve the problem.
They be on the phone. Listen, I don't know if you noticed. Have you noticed my emails when I see you for the show? It'd be like a text message. So Dr. Dixon said something like, why do you send these short messages? I said, I've worked with people so long. If I send 2 letters, two sentences, a paragraph, and then I put the link at the bottom, they're like, Erica, did you send me the link for the show? I'd be like, stop playing. Did you send me the link? I sent it to you. Like, you think I'm joking? I'm telling, like, I literally write them almost like, only thing I don't write at the bottom is from my phone, from my iPhone, from my phone, or whatever. I don't do that because I just like feel like that's silly. But I literally have to write text response like that. I have people who will respond to me with 1 sentence at a time and reply to emails. I'll be like, what are you doing? This ain't a text message. But I have to do that. I've realized that's where we are in society. It's kind of crazy. This guy said, y'all know iPhone's latest update summarizes text messages. It tripped me out the other day. I thought somebody sent me a list of instructions. You know what that means, Donald Watts? That means they done had girls crash out on their phone so long that they summarize the text for the man. The man just like, okay, yeah, whatever, girl. I'm telling you, it's bad. Also, the phone reads to you. Like my older family members were like, I called and says, Erica, And I'll be like, oh, I hate that, right? Like reading voice to text. Like this last book, I made sure not to voice to text it because that's how I messed up the first one. And so I like literally sat down to type, and I was so annoyed, but I realized like it will sound different. Currently in a boot camp, data analytics learning, a lot of SQL, Excel, Tabular, and Power BI.
Analysts.
Yeah. Even this right here, terms and conditions. I'm in several credit repair groups. I've slowly got out of all of them on Facebook because I just can't mentally take it. And there'll be people like, I've been paying on this car 6 years and it's still $17,000. And we'll be like, well, what's your interest? 18%. And you're like, ma'am, how long is the payments on the car? Like 7 years. You're like, or whatever the max is, whatever the max for years is, like a ridiculous long time. You're like, yeah, this last 2 years is when you're going to pay the actual principal. You know what I mean? So it gets real crazy. The terms and condition wear people out. Comprehension, yes. Well, I mean, even if you think about hooked on phonics, I saw a guy struggling to say the word fettuccine.
Okay.
And everybody was laughing at him. But in my head, I was like, oh, he never got hooked on phonics. Like he never learned to sound it out. That means he was not reading to his parents. That means he wasn't reading to teachers. Like these are common things if you actually pay attention. And this is a person who had a speaking impediment in school. So I had to go to these classes. But you're learning that people never learn to sound it out. Or they're not having internal dialogue, right?
Yeah. And so that also gets into patience with yourself. You know, a lot of people don't have that patience to allow themselves to grow either.
Oh yeah. There's a girl on TikTok that has money reading stories to the adults. Listen, what does Meet Kevin do, y'all? He reads the news. Like I really want you to understand. People like Meet Kevin, so smart. I'm like, I've met him. Not that he's not smart. I just want you to understand. All he is doing is reading the news, and you just like the delivery.
You like his opinion and his delivery.
Yeah. Some of these tech channels I watch, I'm not trying to be funny. Like, I get it. They're trying to help people, but half the time they're just reading to y'all. And I'm like, I don't bring Tam on here to read to y'all. I bring her on here to give you the latest and the greatest and take action. And I think that's, to my own default that I'm just like, hey, what we doing? We taking some action? What we doing? Hedge family offices hire, I don't know. Tell me that. Quant.
Yeah,
I want to say gnats, but anyway, for 700,000 to $1 million, with CPA paying big money. I just watched the Compound talk about family offices and how, like, he in his mind, why are you bringing on these employees that you're gonna have to keep on for a long time? And I was like, people don't like people being in their financial business. They feel comfortable with that person. They want to keep them on. Like, I'm not saying we're heading back to feudalism or anything like that, but if you look at France, those really big mansions, they had families working in there and they were there for generations. Like Downtown Abbey show is for real. Like, it's just interesting. But what type of Linux?
Yeah, somebody answer that. Red Hat Linux.
Okay.
You can go with SUSE, Iraqi, even CentOS, but really, most people are in between. Most people are in between SUSE, Debian, and Red Hat. It's really what you're gonna find.
Okay. Also, I'm late to the live. Did anybody ask about CCNA?
No, but it still falls under that core data center need for networking, the need for networking throughout most companies. It's there. It's just one of them things. It's one of them hidden gems. You go into it and you just work behind the scenes, and then don't nobody know that you exist until they can't get their email, right?
Hey, the emails are messed up. I'm pissed. Bob and Cindy keep getting locked out. Insurance companies pay $350,000 for data modeler to predict how hurricanes and natural disasters affect real estate. Listen, you guys, I keep telling Tam, I'm like, I need to own an insurance company. The greatest thing ever. If I could go open one, I would, like, very soon. Because they just make money and it's ridiculous.
Can you highlight Steve Secops for me right there with at 816?
Hold on, let me get down to it. Let me see. You You said, what's his name?
Steve SecOps.
Okay, there you go.
Right. All right. So I know exactly who the location where you're gonna be working at for this one right here. So okay, so this job in Boulder, that's with Lockheed Martin. They're looking for uh Ansible, Rail 9, 185. I know somebody that could probably get you the moving costs and probably bump you up to 240, 250 on that one. Because that's that right there is that area, I would say, works on Space Force. So all throughout that area, they're consistently working on space, satellites, waves, digital signal processing. So
Right.
that's that. So yeah, so I would continue to look in that area for those that are looking for work, because they're always hiring and they got big contracts out there. So
that's why when people say, I don't understand how people in Colorado are living these very expensive homes, I'm like, oh, they're out there.
Because they work.
The government out there.
Yeah.
Hey.
Boulder, Colorado Springs, so forth and so on.
And then a lot of California people sold that first house and moved to that second one, and you already know. Right here. Okay. Serious question for this lady. Are you worried AI might lay you off in the next 5 to 10 years?
Nah. No. I'll tell you why. Because it's, again, I'm on the infrastructure side, so I build out the infrastructure that AI has to use.
And look at this. Look at the thing on the screen. As we say, tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. The more you're adding here, you know what I'm saying? The less niche. Layoff.
Yeah.
The more layoff resistant you become.
And also you got to remember, what are you doing with your money? Right? So So you got to remember, just as you continue to grow, you're going to make more money for that. So, it's, I don't know. It's just one of the things that I think people miss out on. Would AI lay me off in 5 to 10 years? Okay. So what? But I've been for them 5 to 10
years.
But let's look at it this way. In them 5 to 10 years, if you're averaging anywhere from 2 to 500,000 in them 5 to 10 years, you mean tell me you worried about the layoff that's gonna happen in 10? I'm just saying, it's just
No, I really want to go. I want y'all to dissect what we're saying here. When I brought up the job that paid 37 earlier, just the temp company was like, you want a year contract or a 90-day contract? So let's say it's a year contract. That's $71,000 for answering phones. This is why I laugh when people are like, oh, nobody want to do no help desk or do these different things. I want you to understand, if 70 million Americans are making $30,000 a year, according to the IRS data, what they fill out on their taxes, you guys being like $70K a year every year for the next 10 years, but AI may lay me off. You're making double what the most of the population making. Now let's get you up past tier 1. Let's get you to 120,000, 150,000. I have friends personally who were making 150 and 185,000 for years. And guess what? When they had a baby and was like, yo, I'm taking off work, I'm gone. The company was like, baby, we'll hold the spot for you for 6 months. What do you think? We'll hold it for you. Now, she wasn't getting paid over 6 months, but they held the job for her. I don't think you understand, like, let's just do simple math. 185 times 10 years. That means my friend would have made $1.8 million in the course of 10 years. And this is where people have to start using their brains. I'm not going to live $108 million a living. I'm going to live, me and my husband's, off 80K, 70K a year. And we're going to be actively investing for 10 years. Why? Because we don't want to be doing that forever. We don't want to work forever. This is why when people talk about higher income jobs, this is why all the masterminds, all the conferences, all the investing, all the real estate stuff, all the turnkey stuff, the video I did earlier today, if y'all missed it, the reason those turnkey companies are so big is because people will be like, yo, me and my husband got 50K saved and we want to put it into a rental. And we don't want to work. We don't want to hear from the tenants. We don't want to knock on doors. We don't want to hear none of that stuff. Here's this money, send us our checks and keep it pushing. They trust that more than they trust, let me just keep dumping in the stock market. And this is where we're going to have this segregation of people, where we have 10% of super millennials. And as Miss Tameka, I'm guessing she's a Gen X. I don't know. You know, the afro keeps it black. It's very black. She could be 30 something. I don't know. Right? That are segmenting by making more income. She ain't spending 300 grand every year. That's crazy. I want you to understand, if she makes 300 grand 3 years in a row, that's $1 million. In 3 years, she made $1 million. She can't make better decisions. She can't educate herself. That's what I want you to understand. That's why when I went on the rant the other day with financial diet and all that stuff and watching the girl crash out, I'm like, girl, you ain't got to explain to nobody that this YouTube channel makes $5 million a year and your husband works in tech. That's easy math. New York City, he works in financial tech district. Yeah, he probably makes $500,000 a year. This isn't easy. Like complicated math.
Easy. And that's why I say again, that gets into that whole quant era, fintech, hedge funds. Again, not something that we are privy to and understand that those locations or those companies exist and have jobs. So we just got to get out of that mindset of, oh, I'm just gonna work at Boeing for the rest of my life. No, go work at Boeing and every company that works with Boeing. Because this is the other thing, the other flip side of that. We talked about the big companies, but them small companies that's got 100 people or less that take their whole company on a field trip or a whole company on a summer vacation and bring your wife and kids. That's paying every one of their engineers $250,000, $300,000 every year. Them the ones you got to look out for, and those are the companies that you should be going after, because they have a market that they're after, and they know exactly what they're gonna, and they're gonna hold their money in order to get to where they need to go. They're gonna hold their reserves to get to where they need to go. I'm just telling you from experience.
Right.
I have found better success working with the smaller companies than I did with the big companies. The smaller companies, yes, they're small. Yeah, you got to deal with somebody talking and popping off at the mouth. But
hi, how you doing? Hey, Tim, good morning.
Yeah, but I get the same thing over at the big companies as well too. And it may be harder to move up. It's not harder to move up in the smaller company, where you can quickly be in 2 or 3 years a manager over some division, over some engineers, and then let that skill set lead you to other companies if you wanted to leave that company. You just got to know how to work the system to work for you. And if you don't study that, and if you don't take the time to do that, then you're going to always be looking for a job to go work for somebody else's company that's going to be lateral versus moving up. Right. So that's all I'm saying.
For sure. There's AI is a tool for people in tech. AI is a threat to lower skilled folks. Bingo. Now, even here, Swift Beats, a lot of our people aren't good with saving money. Is key, is right. Now, hear me out. I know I'll be sounding very riled up, energetic when I do these. I literally told y'all of the girl I met who moved from North Carolina to Oakland to work for Facebook. She literally was like, they gave her, her job paid her $225,000. They gave her $60,000 in Facebook, basically equivalent money in the stock account. So you're telling me, after you're working at these multiple companies and they're giving you thousands of dollars of stock as a part of your, like, please come work for us. Again, it's very hard when you start making money at a certain level to burn through it, unless you're an athlete. Because you're not focused on. I'm going to give credit to Tam that I'm pretty sure she can read and invest in a $150,000 property in Florida, or invest $50,000 into a property in Florida or Georgia, and not lose her shirt. There are several people, Brandy, any of these people on here, they're smart enough to figure out, I can take this small amount of money, put it over here, and still go to work and still make more money. And I know people think saving is the key, but saving is old terms. It's not saving, it's invested money. Where is that money actively giving you a return at? Consistently. I'm not trying to be combative. I just want everybody to understand. I'm just trying to get that to understand. Dr. D. Will, exactly. Why I switched from medical labs over to molecular. Awesome. They don't understand the privilege that comes with being in demand by having an in-demand skill that you constantly improve.
Yep.
Yes. Yep. Like when people talk about, there's a popular YouTuber, she has a video going viral where she's older white woman and she had her last job, she was making $180,000 a year, and now she's driving for Uber and DoorDash. If this lady is on the technical side of things, it don't matter if she's 60. Somebody gonna pull her up. She was on the sales side of things, and people don't want to hear that part, but she was on the sales side of things. But when you're on the technical and repair and needed in an office, it doesn't matter. I have a friend who's in his late 50s and he's thinking like, oh, I might never become a manager. And everybody around him's like, who cares? You have a technical job. You don't understand. For men, I don't know. They just got to be a manager over somebody. I don't know what that's about. They got to really get over it, because it's like, sir, you might never be a manager.
Got to tell you what that guy. I got to tell you what to do. Power.
I need to be over people. No, you don't. Like, and he's got a manager that's 30 that's over him, and it bothers him.
I always put it like this: if you are an engineer making $350,000, and then they ask you to move into management, or they ask you, do you want to be a manager, but they got to give you a pay cut, or the management position doesn't offer as much, which one are you taking? Titles can be frivolous, if we want to say it that way, but then sometimes titles are important if we're talking about understanding that I may have to change a title for a pay band increase or what have you. So that's just food for thought for that.
People ain't ready for it. Davey said, I love this show. Thank you, Davey. AI is like having a calculator in calculus class. If you don't understand what you're doing, you're still screwed. You can't use AI as a crutch. It's only there to make more productive. And again, when we talk about lower level jobs per se, you still need somebody to work the AI, right? One guy was showing how he had his company, moved his company up to 25 million, and they were so automated that they were losing people. Like the machine and the process was going by, and they were like, wait a minute, did we talk to this person? Like, we didn't even talk to this person. And so sometimes you have to interject people back into the process. And that's what people are saying. When I call USAA or I call any bank and I hear that automated voice, I'm like, representative. I'm gonna do like every black person I know, representative.
I don't want to hear none of that.
We want to get you to the right representative.
Right.
I'm saving jobs every day when I'm on the phone. He said you could be a consultant for yourself. Yes, you can be a consultant. This channel is what I've done, and I've made a mess of it, but it's okay, because that's where we are now, Tam. This channel started out with me moving to Texas, motivational speaking to myself, motivational speaking to others, started investing money in the stock market and tax seeds. And then I got on Dr. Boyce Watkins, and Andre had to interview me over there, and I had 600 paid consultations. So I'm learning and growing as I go. Even this channel learns and grows and pivots every couple of years. That's why, the next set of like interviews I have coming up, they're going to be on a separate channel. I'm going to put some of the testimonials on a separate channel. And I'm just telling y'all that in advance as we pivot, because there are people watching who are still 5 years back. And that's okay. Every show I do isn't for everybody. But there's some people who are like, well, Erica, you talk about starting a business. You talk about, I still do. You still can. This is why when you hear these stories of K-shaped recovery, we're like, no, everybody's broke. No, 50% of the spending in the United States right now is done by people who make over $90,000 a year. Most of the spending going on in America. That's why I tell you, when I sit here and kind of like go over you guys, no one making less than, if you're making over $70,000 a year and you have a house, what recession? You don't have one.
Right.
This is the same argument when the New Yorkers go down to Atlanta and say they paying slave wages, and you ask them what's their job, receptionist. Well, baby, a 12-year-old could do that. The dentist office can get their niece to come in and answer the phone.
Right.
The automation can't. Like Bojangles Chicken in North Carolina now has automation at the window. You pull up.
Bojangles Chicken.
Would you like? And I'm like, and you can't even yell representative on that. So when people start trying to tell me about AI, I'm like, AI not getting rid of people who need to put it in place, or people touching money. I'm talking about touching money with the hedge funds. It's
Mhm.
rid of people, right? It's getting rid of people who are what we would call on the slower lane. They're a couple years
Mhm.
behind in tech and information and understanding the movement that's going on right now. Right?
Right.
So I just want y'all to understand that like there's money across multiple lanes.
Right.
And so I don't want you to be like, well, Erica, you talk about owning your business. I do. I want you to own it because that's the only thing you really can control. The,
Mhm.
I don't know if you saw the show earlier, Tameka, but I was talking about newsletters and private information. There's going to be that kind of Google is going to be delayed now because the public information is some general stuff, right? It's
Right.
like when you see the reels online. It's very general. On
Right.
the other side, the paid private information, newsletters, stuff you can't Google, that's already happening. It's already two
Mhm.
internets happening right now as we speak.
Mhm.
So Tameka telling you she's going in a room and some people don't even need to be there, that's a real thing. It happens
All the time.
every day. Great advice. The tech side is only part of the equation. Becoming proficient in business and industry that you are working in will make you valuable. Yes. So, Tameka, as we
Mhm.
do before we leave this show, we've been on here a good hour and 20 minutes. I appreciate your time. I always
No
thank you for
problem.
Tech Tuesdays. What are some things, if somebody asked you today, what are the 3 certs I can go get, Miss Reed, and I can start my career and I can
Yeah.
go right now?
Yeah.
And what's what they want, baby. They want the 3 and they want to hit it and go.
Yeah, so I'm always start with the RHCSA for Linux. I'm gonna always tell you, pick a cloud, any cloud.
What are the clouds, Miss Reed?
AWS, Azure, and Oracle and Google. Pick a
Mhm.
cloud, any cloud. And then if you are feeling froggy, I won't even throw configuration management in there anymore because at this point right now we can type into chat GPT and tell them to make me a Terraform file or
Mhm.
Ansible playbook that does blah 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 blah.
Right.
But I will say, um, and and this is just Tameka talking, not straying from what I always say is, um, people need to learn how to have identify problem and solution skills.
Right.
When I say that, meaning that job description that they're giving you is a problem and you need to come in with a solution in your interview. So,
Yeah.
but a lot of people don't have the mindset to look at that resume as they're describing a problem, and then you have to then put into your interview how you're going to give a solution to that problem. So this goes back into reading comprehension.
Mhm.
It goes back into fundamentals of sales, listening to the customer and driving the customer to a solution. Those skills are always needed, and a lot of people can't do that when it comes to interviews, and they
Excuse me,
can't
sorry.
do it when it comes to presentations either. So I'm gonna circle that as a big highlight because I need more people to understand how to give themselves how to give themselves skill sets that they can take anywhere in any part of tech and outside of tech. Identifying the problem, coming up with a detailed plan to get to the solution, and then implement it. Again, you don't always have to implement. You can find somebody else to implement. But showing that skill set right there is super huge.
There is uh, there's an interview question where it's like, how does A get to B get to C? And you're
Mhm.
really just plugging in the answer. So no matter what, like part of the job of anybody when you get on the phone with customers is like, what's the problem? All the
Mhm.
information you get, and now you just reword the answer back to them.
Mhm.
This is the same. I think I made a journaling video years ago. And I may do it again, but it's like when you journal, what is the end goal we're trying to reach
Mhm.
this week, this
Mhm.
month, this year?
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people, oh, no. But I don't want you to deep dive. I just want you to answer the question in reverse. That's all we're doing. Like, how can I get into tech? We've been on this for what, 5 years now, Miss Reed? How can I get into tech? Miss Reed told me I should pick a cloud, AWS, Azure, Oracle, or Google. I should be able to problem solve the conversation when I get in the interview. And I should look for small companies. If you don't take nothing else from this show, that was the show. Pick a cloud.
Any cloud.
Any cloud. Pick a small company. Any company. And reverse engineer the conversation when you get interviews.
Yep. And I'll just add this, the reason why I say pick the small companies. I'm a snob when it comes to this. The 3 to 4% into your 401k is cute, but the smaller companies, they're doing 10, 15%, 25% into your 401k without you even, that's not a match. That's, I'm putting 25% in there just because you got hired. I'm putting 15% in there because you got hired. Those companies, yes, you got to look for them. I did a whole show on that actually. But what I'm simply saying is, if you want to get to this wealth building journey quicker, the 3 to 4% is cool, but there's companies, and they're usually digital signal processing, high performance computing in that realm, that are putting in 10%, 15%, or 25%. So imagine you work at a company and you're getting paid $100,000. They automatically put $25,000 into your 401k without you even moving. So you can't tell me you worked that for 3 to 5 years. You don't have a nice little nest egg. Now you go bump and go somewhere else. I'm just saying. I'm just talking like there's multiple ways to be multimillionaires. You could do it through your Roth IRAs. You could do it through your 401ks. You could do it through your savings accounts. You could do it through investing in real estate. You could do it through buying commercial, residential, land, the whole nine. It's just, how do you see yourself? What's the end goal? And how you're going to strategically move within this space to get where you want to be. Forget what everybody else is doing and what everybody else is talking about. I just feel like when it come to us, when they start talking about, they wave the flag that we need more people that are doing X, Y, and Z. We go run over there, this, that, and other. While we running over there to do this, they over here filling these other positions that don't even get talked about. They don't even get advertised.
Yeah. So I hope this is helpful. Hope this has been instruction. The reason, and people say, man, Eric, you do these shows, it'll be an hour and 30 minutes. Man, if you can't sit for an hour and 30 minutes through something educational, maybe it's already a wrap. It's already a wrap. Like, I'm not trying to be funny. Like, we're just doing question and answer for an hour and 30 minutes. If you ever sat through some of those tech trainings and it's an Indian person talking to you for an hour, you ain't gonna make it. I already know you ain't gonna make it. I'm just being very clear with you. That's who's teaching half the classes. You're not gonna make it. If you can't do an hour and 30 minutes conversation training, you're not gonna make it. You know what I'm saying? Like, good luck. Because you have to be able to listen, comprehend, work through the problem. Okay, boom, boom, boom. Right. So that's all I got to say. Thoughts of a wildfire. Nice change journey to Jasmine. Thank you, ladies, so much. Your information changed my life and continue to change my life. I want you to understand, Journey Jasmine left North Carolina, went to Houston, Texas, been at different tech companies. I don't even know what tech company she at now. She better message me. I don't even be on Instagram. They stole my Instagram from me. I don't care. But y'all already know what time it is. I'm going on book tours and I'm doing some other projects. So at the end of the day, I really thoroughly enjoyed the Tech Tuesdays, and I've enjoyed interacting with people like Miss Reed. We'll do something in person in Atlanta soon here if you're in town.
I'm in Atlanta now.
So, she be moving all around. She be James Bond out here. And I was just laughing because I had a friend just went up to Virginia, bought a house, worked for the government. People like, the government's laying everybody off. I'm like, well, they got a job.
No.
I don't know if y'all, if y'all gonna go with the headlines for the next 4 years, good luck. But if you're really ready to kind of pivot and move, it's opportunity out here.
Secret and stealth. That's what strategic, secret and stealth is where the money is at. So I just put it out there like that. There are companies out there making getting $100 million contracts and got 15 people in them. So, hey, who am I?
Happens. So, all right, you guys. Thank you, James Bond. Thank you for your helping tonight. You guys, Miss Tam, where can they find you?
Everything on social media, Women in Linux, everything, YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram, we're all over, Facebook. That's where we're at. That's what we do. Catch us on Saturday shows. I need to go get back to my 3 days a week. Been busy, got a lot of stuff going on, but Saturdays we do tech stocks and jobs, where I talk about investing strategies, coming up with ways to get your skill sets up and take those skill sets to the next level. I always push people to try to make at least 200,000 at a minimum. If that's not your thing, if you think that's too hard or whatnot, I'm just not the person for you. It's this is just what it is, but you got to start somewhere, and I get that. So that's where I'm at.
Love it. All right, you guys. It's your girl Erica, Classic Line Blog. Thank you guys so much for being here. I appreciate you guys. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you, Miss Reed.
You're welcome. Thank you all.
This is David W. Williams, and I'm giving a testimony to Erica Williams and her team. Because of the advertising relationship that we were able to develop, my company had the best month in the month of November for the whole year of 2024. And I'm talking about our sales were 3 or 4 times any other month during that particular year. And I know it's because of the relationship that I had with Erica and how she worked with me as an advertising partner. So now here's the benefit of working with her and her team. She's going to communicate to you what you're going to get as a result of working with her. She's going to over deliver on her value that she's providing, right? And she's not going to do a one-off deal. She's going to really invest in your success because she's really invested in making sure that you're going to get a success story from working with her as an advertising partner. So if you're looking to drive more sales, you're looking to bring in more leads, and you're also looking to get more exposure to what you're doing, you want to reach out to Erica and ask her, can I advertise with you?